welcome to the Patricia Joe Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. And today I have with me Tristan Helm. And let me tell you a little bit about Tristan. He is an author and a speaker and a personal development specializing in internal value. He was raised in Oklahoma and is currently living in Texas. He's married with 5 children, and he currently works as a mental health professional, helping people learn the proper skills to operate and function past any mental barriers. He's been working with individuals for the past 17 years, learning everyday rehabilitation skills and working through past issues. He utilizes his personal studies and experience to help others understand very complex things that can help push them forward. His personal mission is to help people reach their potential and to love who they are deep down. Fantastic, Tristan. Fantastic. In this day and age, everybody needs that. And there are a lot of issues going on because of what COVID has dropped upon us all, being cooped up and being so limited as far as what we, not knowing what is out there and what we can do. So the people that are, we'll say, mental health consumers to begin with, this is even more that's put on their plates.
Correct.
Yeah. So nice to have you here with me, and I'm sure that you can shed some light out there for everyone.
Yeah. I A few years ago, I really went through a very, let's say, trying time, and I had to learn a lot about myself. I had to learn a lot about who I was, who I wanted to be, and in that, I developed a very strong passion for internal value. Learning to like dig down deep and find out, okay, what's the root cause for problems, and then how do you increase that value? How do you increase that self-esteem? And it always seems to like correlate, like your personal experience seem to be your motivating factor. Like, look at Michael J. Fox. He's got this whole foundation for Parkinson's. You look at Seth Rogen. He's got this big thing for dementia and Alzheimer's. And anything that really impacts us in a negative way, it kind of just will either demobilize us or it'll get us into action wanting to do things. And I see all these programs, events, charities out there that are fueled by people's personal journey.
Right.
And so that's just my journey. That's what I'm into. I'm really into, okay, what's your internal value? And this is just my conviction. This is how I feel. But I believe we have a lack of self-love. And I don't mean arrogance or cockiness.
Right.
I don't mean like selfish love. I mean like, you know what? I love who I am.
Right.
And I was speaking with someone last night. We were talking about love languages, and they were just like, I don't know my love languages. I like all 5. And I was like, I think your problem, or I didn't say your problem. I asked to speak freely in their life. And I said, I think you don't love yourself. And like, well, I'm happy with myself. I said,
Right. There is a difference.
Being happy. And whenever we have that pure self-love, that healthy self-love, we make better decisions because
Exactly.
we're more in tune with, okay, how does this affect other people? How does this affect me? And it just kind of, it builds from there. And I've got different philosophies on life that are rather antiquated, but they all really deal with how do you see yourself and how do you live? What standards do you live by? What's your value?
Exactly. And a lot of people haven't done that for themselves. They're still in the comparing themselves to others instead of really creating their own, what's for them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of science to it. I won't try to be too nerdy, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of development in the brain
Exactly.
as far as the hypothalamus, amygdala. Researching this guy named Daniel Amen, and he's talking about when your serotonin levels are high, there are certain brain functions that are supposed to be very either leveled or low, and they're high functioning, and they cause an imbalance in negative thinking, and we get trapped in our way of thinking because it's like I'm not taking care of myself.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so, do you know who Jay Shetty is?
I think I've heard the name, but I'm not placing it.
He's I don't want to say he's overrated, but like he's very very well known in like the motivational speaking. But
Okay.
I was listening to him the other day, and he was talking about how he had given up this big corporate world and became a monk for 3 years, and then it kind of just revolutionized his life. And I heard him talk recently about, he said, they say you should spend about 15 minutes a day in your own thoughts, dealing with yourself. And they said they gave people options, men and women. You know, you could take electrical shock, or you can be with yourself in your mind for 15 minutes. Like 30% of women and 60% of men said, I'd rather be shocked than just deal with what's going on up here.
Wow. So those are real numbers. Those are real
Yeah.
numbers. Wow.
Yeah. And so it's just like, that's why there is so much chaos, is because people don't want to deal with what's going on inside. And so it
Exactly.
comes out subconsciously, and we keep projecting all this, dare I say it, like negative energy and these chemicals, and it just becomes toxic, and it gets on other people, then they put it on other people, rather than say, you know what, let me deal with myself. Let
Exactly.
me find out what my root problem is so I can be healthy.
Fantastic. Well, that is, and that really puts, um, because what I do with people is I help them determine where they are really at, because I've got to be able to get them from one place to the next. We need to
Mhm.
really dig down deep, and that's what you're saying, is really dig down deep and find out who we are and where we're at, where we're starting from. So
Precisely.
fantastic. Yeah. So so this kind of goes into that. What's your driving passion here, Tristan?
Well, about, let me see, 6 years ago, I went through an extremely emotionally uh, traumatic. I want to say traumatic because, pain just
Right.
hurts. You
Yeah.
can't measure it.
Right.
But it really it shook me, like, to my core. Um, I thought it was something good at first, and the more I reflected, the more I thought about it, it kind of just it put me in this very very deep pit, something that I
Wow.
had already been hiding, something I'd already been dealing with, um, and it just kind of dug me deeper.
Wow.
And I began realizing that I've got to do more. I need more out of my life. I want to value myself. And so I really began spending a lot of time by myself. Like, I didn't have anything else going on, but instead of just choosing to be busy, I chose to sit in my house and just sit in the dark and think and reflect and meditate and just, where am I going?
Right.
What am I doing? And it really kind of it was a very pivotal moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had a few big moments in my life. Is one moment I went into my closet, and I noticed an empty closet that was once full. If you kind of get where I'm going at.
Right. Right.
And still had all my clothes on one side, and I looked over and I was like, that's my closet now. I you know what? We're gonna start all over. And I remember I called a friend over who was a little more fashionably advanced than me,
Good.
and I said,
Good
all right, man.
terms. Yeah.
I said, do your damage. I said, I give you complete control. If it doesn't fit, if it's got stains, if you don't think it looks nice, if it's not professional, get rid of it. And I lost like 90% of my clothes.
Right. Right.
And I rebuilt from there. And I was like, I want to dress professionally, and I want to respect myself. And I get it. I mean, it's just cloth, but the internal part of me was striving to have a sense of respect and pride and
Exactly.
resolve. And so, again, I started completely over almost. I only had a few jeans and a few shirts. And from there, I was like, I was very picky about what I allowed in my closet.
Right.
And that became like an allegorical not paradox, but like a paradigm in my inside. I began being very careful about what I allowed in my life. And anytime I made a decision that damaged me, it would set me back, and I would reflect and say, I need to do something different. And then I would veer off and figure out what was going on, and it'd get me back on track. And it fueled me to really dig down deep.
Yes.
And at the time, I only had like a few pages of my book done, but it really began fueling this desire to not just finish my book, but to really finish out who I am, to find out who am I. Because if I know who I am, I can be confident. I can believe in that. I can be okay with who I am.
Exactly.
I don't have to fit by society standards.
Exactly.
And once I have that resolve, then I can do something that is worth investing into this world. I have something to give, if that makes sense.
I totally understand, because what you have written, you have walked your own talk, and that's very, very, very close to me. Exactly. So I totally get where you're coming from, and I know my purpose. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. I know where I am and what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be doing. There's no question. So fantastic. So how did you? So this kind of goes back. How did you get to this point in your life?
Kind of like anything, when you have no direction, you're kind of just everywhere. It's chaotic. And I come from a very militant father figure. Well, my dad, not just a father figure, he was my father, but he was very militant. So he had structure. So I thrive under structure. And anyways, I don't do well in chaos.
Right.
And when I realized how chaotic things were, I realized, okay, something's got to be done. I know this is not the way things are supposed to be. Like, this is my schedule, this is how things are, and not so much rigid in it, but just like, I know where I'm going.
Right.
I heard Zig Ziglar talk about, he said, I can't think of the guy's name, but his last name is Hill, but he's one of the greatest archers in the world. But he says, you know what? You give me a week with you, he said, I can make you a better archer than him if he's blindfolded. And I was like, what? But then he said, when you have no direction, he says, you don't know where the target's at. Exactly. He said, so how can you go anywhere if you don't have a goal? So then I began building, okay, what do I want? What's more than what I have right now that's going to contribute into people and help them, and what can I do about it? And so again, that I began stepping back and just evaluating, what did this do to me? How do I feel about this? Why do I feel this way?
Exactly.
What do I want to do with this? Because it's one thing to find out who you are, and it's completely, it's another dimension to find out how who you are fits into this lifestyle, into this world, and where you're pinpointed and where your goals are, and how they contribute to people and how they contribute to society.
Right. So true. That's what I work with people every day. So fantastic. And I totally get it. So and people have to realize that it is possible. You are worthy of this, and you are capable of doing this. Yeah. The thing is, and what I say, and I use Wayne Dyer a lot of stuff he says, it's never crowded upon that extra mile. Mm-hmm. The problem is the extra mile isn't when all the way up here when you think. The extra mile is actually the behind the scenes work that you have to do to get there. And that's what people don't understand. So you and I are on the same track with that, working with people. So and so here, my next question to you is, why is value important?
Kind of like the first question, value is a driving force in everybody's life. Whether we want to admit that, whether we want to agree with that.
Right.
There's some things that I believe it's we can disagree. Like, you may like meatloaf. I think it's disgusting, soggy meat. That's
Right.
okay. But some things, it's not a matter of your feelings. It's really what's there. And where I'm going with that is when you value something, you take care of it.
Right.
When you value yourself, you'll take care of yourself. I don't mean buying yourself luxurious things when you can't afford it. I mean, you look out for the better of your well being.
Exactly.
And when you look out for the better of your well being, you're going to see, oh, look at this person. I don't want them to go through what I went through. I value that person. And as you're talking about comparing earlier, here's how we usually compare, and it's not fair. But we compare our backstage work to someone's feature presentation. Like, and that's two different worlds.
Right.
We have no idea what went behind stage with that person, what they've went through, how they've built that, what they've done to get to where they're at.
Exactly.
We only know this has been my struggle and this is what's happened to me. And so again, it's not so much devaluing other people, but it's valuing yourself as much as other people are valued and as much as they should be valued. And so this is becoming like my mantra for life is, why don't you love yourself? Where is this written? Where's this book at that says that you're not worthy of love because you've made mistakes? Like I personally, I have a very strong conviction religious life. And so I'm very firm in the Bible. And I'm like, I don't see anybody who didn't make mistakes in the Bible. I don't see
Exactly.
where people were condemned because they did bad things and tried to make it right and they got thrown. I don't see that. I see grace. And when we're too hard on ourselves, we end up damaging our core values, you know, and then when we're too easy on ourselves, we become inflated. And so that's why I say, like, there's a very fine line between confidence and arrogance. And confidence just says, I'm no better, I'm no worse than you, but I know what I'm good at. Right. I know what I love. Arrogance is saying, well, I'm better than you because I'm good at this.
Right. Right.
And my personal thing is, if you're arrogant, it actually means you have a low self-esteem. Because arrogance focuses on strength and avoids weakness. Confidence says, I accept my weakness and my strengths. And there's, again, that's where that line's at.
Yes.
And so when you know your value, you know that I have something to offer this world. It's not this person. It's not this person's. It's not this person's contribution. This is my contribution.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so I really believe that if you get that value inside, what real value is, you're going to take care of it. And then you're going to share that with other people, whatever it is.
Exactly. 100% agree. Oh, Tristan, this is wonderful. And I'm sure our viewers and listeners are really soaking this in and really seeing. And again, it's great to see a man coming from this perspective, not telling everybody what they need to do and how they need to do it. You have taken this from what you've learned from walking your own talk and putting this together and bringing it to a human level that's understandable for everyone. So exactly. I applaud you in that. And we know not everybody is going to love me. It's, you know, I'm not the answer for everybody. You're not the answer for everybody. But again, being who we are and making that connection and knowing ourselves, that's what it's all about, because we know the value that we bring for individuals. Fantastic. So what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to create a better life?
I'm sorry, my dog barked. What did you say?
What advice would you give someone looking to create a better life?
I would say to work on themselves. And again, going back, I know I'm repeating myself, but I do that on purpose. I repeat myself, but people are able to retain it. Technically, we only retain about 10% of what we hear and see, but the more we hear it, the more we remember it.
Exactly.
And I put this in my book, that it's just, if you could just get a hold of a few principles, then you're set. And all I got to do is repeat the same things 100 different times, and that becomes a part of your thinking. But as far as anybody else, I would say to reflect. A lot of time getting to know who you are. This world, especially with all these, like, what are there, 15, 20 different social media
Right.
outlets. I mean, you're seeing everybody else's life, and you become focused on, well, I got to look as good as them, or I got to post my selfie and let people see this gorgeous dinner that I'm eating. Like,
Yeah.
that's all tangible. That's all materialistic. It's all very short lived, but really reflect on, what do I value? What are the most important things out of my life? You if you give a child a teddy bear or give them gold diamonds, they're probably going to take the teddy bear. It costs
True.
like $5 at Dollar Tree, but the diamonds, we like, oh my goodness, that's so valuable. You could do, but you know what a teddy bear does? It gives you comfort. It helps you be brave. Children, there's something special about what children do with their, like, these items that are almost uh, just harmless to us and don't mean anything to us, but they hold on to it and they treasure it.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
again, when you self reflect, what do I treasure? What do I value in my life? What's valuable about me? Why am I worthy of love? And not in, like, in an interrogative, like, why are you worthy? But why am I worthy? I know I'm worthy, but why?
Exactly.
And you can't, you, people don't, you can't give what you don't have.
Right.
And I've seen good people, like really just sweet, good intended people trying to give good, and they're constantly receiving bad. And unfortunately, you see them, what are they? They're sick, they're always tired, they're depressed, they have anxiety because they don't have it to give. They're giving
Right.
from an empty container.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if you fill that up, guess what? It's going to come out one way or another. And so that's why I say you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it so whatever comes in you can come out in other people. And you can find other people that have been in your spot. Something I tell a lot of people, I repeat it a lot, is when I see somebody going through a hard time and they're just like, there's no way out of this. I'll never get through this. Why is God doing this to me? I say, think about this. One of these days, you're going to get through this. You're going to achieve things, and you're going to be sitting across from someone just like I'm sitting across from you. They're going to be saying the very same thing. You know what you're going to tell them? I got through it.
Right.
And they're going to say, oh, really? How? Here's how I did it. And it's going to give them hope. They're going to
Exactly.
realize, okay, this is not the end of the story for me
Exactly.
because you went through it.
Exactly.
And so you start with yourself. You build yourself up, and then you let that flow out into other people naturally. You don't force it. You naturally just you use what you value, and you let that flow to other people. And guess what? It flows into them, and then that flows into another person, and to another person, and to another person. And next thing you know, someone that I could have never had the chance to talk to is impacted through this butterfly effect and chain of events because I impacted one person, because I
Exactly.
valued myself. And so I always try to think long term in short decisions, like, how is this going to affect me later on?
Yes.
How can this benefit somebody else? And so, again, start with yourself. I mean, it's not selfish to be healthy.
No. Exactly. Exactly. So fantastic. And I 100% agree. A lot of what you're talking about, I do with my own work and with my own clients. Um, and what I say is, for me, I'm in that trifecta. For me, the perfect trifecta. I choose to live my life purposefully, joyfully, and gratefully. And
Mm-hmm.
it's that, to me, that middle sweet spot is where I'm at, and I am so blessed to be able to be there. And I want more people to be able to experience that same feeling for themselves. So, um, so we've been talking a little bit today about in your book. So tell me a little bit about it.
So, I'll give a little backstory. About March of 2011, I had felt an unction. Again, I don't push my religion. I don't push my beliefs
Right.
on anybody, but I have a very strong religious conviction. And I really felt God telling me, hey, you need to write a book to women. And I was like, no, I'm not really qualified. And he goes, and he gives me this visual of the clock ticking after midnight. And then he gives me the title, After Midnight, Finding Your Inner Beauty. And then all of a sudden I see in my mind, I see the prince going through the town looking for this woman who's got this beautiful gown, the pretty makeup, and the gold chariot, and he never finds her. You know what? And then he finally gives up. He goes to the last house, and then there's Cinderella, and he's like, okay, and he puts it on her, but she's not in this beautiful gown. She doesn't have the chariot. It's not this big, beautiful house.
Right.
In fact, she's living with her stepmom and stepsisters. And the backstory on Cinderella is that her dad remarried and then died shortly after that. And her stepmom was so angry and took it out on her because she reminded her of her husband.
Right. Okay.
And so that said, so she's not living this luxurious life. But despite being mistreated by all these people, she is so loving, so caring that like even birds and animals want to be around her. And she's always singing. You know why? Because she was beautiful long before the fairy godmother gave her a makeover.
Right.
And then it became this message about finding your inner beauty. What's most beautiful in your life? Because today's society says, oh, it's got to be how your phone looks or what kind of phone you has or how much makeup you put on or how
Right.
your hair is done or what type of dress. And is that Gucci or is that, the off-brand? Like, what does that matter?
Right.
And so then for 9 years, I went through each chapter living it and then writing it. And each of my chapters, or a bulk of my chapters, are very directory. They're like, you are beautiful, you are valuable, you are unique, you are loved. And just trying to get that out to anybody who will hear it and anybody who will receive it. But it's really about your inner beauty. I value who I am. I don't have to be like you. I'm valuable just because I'm alive. I'm loved because I'm alive. If this is the way God wanted my face to look, then I'm beautiful. He didn't make a mistake. And once I realize that, once I see that, and once I believe that, not just think it, but I truly believe it, your opinion doesn't matter.
Exactly.
If you can help me be better, by all means. But just because you don't like this,
Right.
then you're not worthy of, I don't care about your opinion. What does that matter to me?
Exactly.
It's looks. I can't control this. I can control this, but I can't control I can't control on the outside. So then it shifts. It's all meant to shift our mentality to, what do I have control over? What can I do about who I am?
Right.
Well, I can treat people with respect. I can hand out $1 to the person on the side of the road. I can hand out, I can give. I can love people.
Right.
Who everybody else says is unlovable, I can love those people. That's what I can do. And that's beautiful.
Yep.
That's much more beautiful than how you look, how you dress, what you have in life. That is more beautiful. And so again, I mean, I'm a man. Like, I don't really have, I'm not qualified to know how a woman thinks other than
Right.
what
But that's the thing, Tristan. It's, and people have a hard time getting over that. How you think about yourself, how you love yourself, there's no sexual orientation to that.
Yeah.
It is who you are as
Yeah.
a person.
Exactly.
There's no sex, color, religion, race, or anything associated with this.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is.
I had to work past that. That was very difficult for me to say, here, women, read this book. I'm a man, but you should know what I'm saying. Because I wanted it to be a universal message.
Right.
And then I put in the book, like, hey, if men deal with this stuff too, but it's there's so much sexualization of women in society.
Right.
Like oh, they're gonna have a women's night for at the bar. For what? Like, why are you like why are you objectifying women? And I just it again, I'm very passionate about it, so I'm
Right.
trying to stay
Right.
calm.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's like we are making them as an object. Society, media, all that. It's just, oh well, you got to look this way. You can't do this. You can't look like this.
It's all
Why?
the marketing dollar.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's all about the, hey, let's make this sale to them to make them. So let's make them not feel pretty so that we can sell something to make them pretty. Or,
exactly.
or whatever the case may be, whether it be smart or whether it be, hey, let's make them feel dumb and sell them this so they'll feel smarter,
Exactly.
with that whole thing. So, oh, fantastic. This has been such a great discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah, so wonderful to have
Honored.
you with me. So, Tristan, do you have anything for our viewers? Do you have any special gifts for them?
I would if I can share this, and it's just it's something I'm trying to learn how to discern the difference between our thoughts and our beliefs.
Okay.
I can think something. Like I can think, if my alarm goes off, I'm going to get in the morning. I'm going to get up in the morning. But that's not going to do anything. We think, oh, well, yeah, I know that. But do you believe it? We don't react based off what we think. It's not going to happen. We can try, but what we have to do is take those thoughts, evaluate how true they are, and then follow them into a belief system. And this is where I'm going with it, is your belief system is what motivates you. It's what drives you every day. It's how you live your life. Almost every decision you make is because of something you believe in or something you don't believe in.
Exactly.
And the more you increase your belief system, the more you said you learn believers into achievers. The only difference between a believer and an achiever is action. That's it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just taking that action. Because if I believe something, I'm going to do it. If I think something, I'll ponder it. I'll wonder about it. I might dabble in it. But if I believe it and I know it deep, deep down, then I'm going to do something about it. And so, again, if I can ever part anybody with this, is what is your belief system? Not just religious beliefs, not just personal belief, but what is your belief system? What does it say about you?
Right.
And if you have aspirations to do something that reaches high accolades or has something to do up here, which I believe everybody should have these goals, what do you believe about it? Now, what do you think about it? But what do you believe about it? And then you tell yourself what you need to do. I stopped teaching affirmations and I started working on incantations. And this is, then I'll be done.
Right.
An affirmation is trying to convince yourself of something. An incantation is demanding yourself do something. It's saying no. It's not saying, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Right.
I should be happy. No, it's, I am happy. And here's why.
Right. Exactly.
It takes authority. When you follow how your brain thinks, then it tags you along. Oh, well, that must be good. Well, that must be good. Well, that must be good. But whenever you say, no, this is what's right, and this is what we're going to do. But no, we're not going that way. We're going to go this way. Because I've evaluated my belief system and I know what's right.
Exactly.
And so you demand more out of yourself. You demand more value. And I don't mean like pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion. I mean this right here. You demand that this right here operate the way it's supposed to. If someone hurts you, no, we're not going to hold a grudge. I refuse to be angry about that.
You're
what
wasting
they did
your
wrong,
time and your
but
energy.
that's on them.
Right.
Exactly. it doesn't deserve my time. It doesn't deserve my energy. We will not think about that. And it's putting your brain in a position to where it's now following you. And again, your heart. I don't follow your heart. Your heart is, ooh, I love this person. And then they mess me over and hurt me. No, I'm going to go with what I believe and what I know is right, not what I feel, not what I think. And then I'm going to tell myself, this is what we're going to do. And that's an incantation.
Right.
It decides what's right. It doesn't follow what's right. It decides what's right for the better of mankind, for the better of self. And again, it's that's where you look at the value system.
Yep. Fantastic. And I applaud that. And all that comes from asking those questions, those tough questions. Not, you have to dig and you have to say, why, why, and ask yourself why you're having those thoughts and feelings, and what needs to change, who needs to change, all those things, to really dig down, and that will take all those pieces and help you be able to put them together to create the plan that you want to be able to achieve and the life that you want to have.
Yeah.
All the same things that I teach my clients. It's just we're using different terminology, but it's all, again, all coming from wanting to be able to help people create the life that they want and they deserve.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's why I really try to teach outside the box. Is your message is not the same as mine, but that's okay.
Exactly.
Because what you have to contribute is needed, and what I have to contribute is needed.
Exactly.
They're both needed. And so, again, you find out what your value is. You find out what is your contribution in society. What do you have to give the world? It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship. It doesn't have to be speaking. It doesn't have to be coaching. Like, and I'm not degrading working at like McDonald's or anything. No. But if you have a shiny personality and that's it, you don't know what to do with it, man, you could brighten and save someone's life by giving them a cup of coffee, giving them a genuine smile and say, man, I hope you have a great day. Here's your order.
Yeah.
Like, and just come, oh my man, that's much nicer than the last person. I'm having a great day.
Yeah.
Change everything.
Exactly.
So not to society says, oh, this is better than this. And forget that. Who are you? Because that's just as good.
Exactly.
Fantastic. That's my parting words.
There. Fantastic. Well, so it's been wonderful having you here with me, Tristan. And so, I appreciate you. And so, for our viewers, when we'll put stuff down below so you can have the contact information for Tristan. And thank you for being with us for this episode of the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. You can find out more about me at patriciajogrover.com. And I have gifts for our viewers. If you text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 866-926-4020, there's free gifts there for you. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you another time. Bye-bye.